Hello friends, welcome to another episode of Silas Marner, The Weaver of Revelio, written by George Eliot. In today's episode, we are going to study chapter 11, chapter 12 and 13. So let's get started with chapter 11. In this chapter, we are going to cover 4 points, which are Nancy joins the celebration, Nancy enters the dressing room, Priscilla expresses her views, and Nancy agrees with Godfrey. Number 1. Nancy joins the celebration. Nancy Demeter makes it clear to Godfrey that she will not marry him. She is quite pained when Godfrey meets her at the door when she had arrived at the Red House for the dance. When Square Cass comes out to greet Nancy's father, she escapes to bedroom where the ladies are changing into their gowns. Number 2. Nancy enters the dressing room. Nancy is introduced to the two Miss Guns, daughters of a wine merchant from a neighboring town. They came over a large town and regard Revelio, a society, with disdain. Nancy converses with her aunt Mrs. Osgood, with whom she has a special though formal bond. Priscilla expresses her views. Nancy's sister Priscilla enters and begins chatting. Priscilla and Nancy dress alike through Nancy's insistence. So they greet Miss Guns by saying more or less that we homely girls have our own advantages too. In this manner, the conversation continues between the Demeter sisters and the Guns sisters, and Priscilla continues to give her important views. Nancy agrees with Godfrey. Solomon Macy, the fiddler, soon arrives and leads the company into the parlor to open the dancing. A few of the more privileged villagers are allowed in as spectators at the dance is led off by the Squire and Mrs. Crackenthorpe and Rector with Mrs. Osgood. With this, we come to the end of the chapter 11. Now let's start with chapter 12. In this chapter, we are going to cover the following topics. Molly becomes angry with Godfrey. Molly takes opium as stress buster. The child reaches the Silas cottage. Silas is amazed at seeing the child. Molly becomes angry with Godfrey. While Godfrey Cass carries on to his tentative flirtation with Nancy, his wife Molly Farron slowly makes her way towards the Red House, walking through the snow in rags with her baby girl in her arms. Godfrey has told Molly that he would rather die than acknowledge her as his wife. Molly also resents Godfrey's wealth and comfort and believes that he should support her. Molly takes opium as stress buster. Now Molly becomes too tired to go on. When she is near the stone pit, a need for comfort grips her and she takes the last remnant of her opium. She hesitates for a moment at the thought of her girl child and she drinks the vial and sips into an opium stupor, wanting nothing more than to lie down and sleep. The child reaches Silas' cottage. As Molly's arms relax, the child slips down into the snow. The little girl wakes up and sees a light moving. Thinking it a living thing, she tries to catch the light but fails. She allows to follow it to its source, which is the fire in the Silas' nearby cottage. The child toddles through the open door and continues right up to warm hearth, dragging her ragged bonnet behind her. Silas is amazed at seeing the child. When Silas recovers, he notices that the fire has gone somewhat cold. As he stoops to rekindle the flame, his myopic eyes see a patch of gold on the hearth in front of him. Thrilled, he reaches down to touch his returned gold. But instead of hardness of the metal, he feels the softness of a baby's skull. With this, we end the chapter 12. Now let's get started with chapter 13. In this chapter, we cover the following topics. Silas enters the party. Molly is no more. Silas decided to keep the child. Number 1. Silas enters the party. It's later in the evening that the guests got more drunk. Godfrey is watching Nancy from a distance at the party when he is startled by the figure of Silas carrying a child. Immediately, Godfrey knows that the child is his and that his dark secret has come to haunt him. The square cat angrily questions Silas, asking him why he has intruded. Silas says he is looking for a doctor because he has found a woman, apparently dead, lying near his door. Knowing that it is Molly, Godfrey is terrified that perhaps she is in fact not dead. Molly is no more. Dr. Kimball, much irritated at the interruption, readies himself to go out. Godfrey decides that the best way to deal with agony of suspense is to see the body. He volunteers to fetch Miss Winthrop, who is always first on everyone's mind in such circumstances. Silas decided to keep the child. Godfrey insists on seeing her, claiming to Dr. Kimball that he had seen a woman of a similar description the day before. He verifies that the woman is in fact Molly. He finds Silas sitting with the child. When the child sees Godfrey, she doesn't appear to recognize him, which makes Godfrey simultaneously regretful and pleased. With this, we end the chapter 11, 12 and 13. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and share our videos and do subscribe our channel for further videos.